That's the intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Welcome back, Star Trek Fleet Command fans. And tomorrow is the big anniversary for Star Trek, and I'm very curious about Star Trek Fleet Command, and I'm curious what all they're going to do. Kind of excited to see the 29th of November, 2018, 5 years ago tomorrow. This game's been out. That's pretty crazy and long time. And today we're going to take a look at an officer that just came out here in the month of November, talk about how he works now, if he's good, and how he'll apply maybe next month when they add some more synergization with him. Of course, I'm talking about Enterprise-E Picard. Yes, Jean-Luc Picard, your brand new, fifth version of Picard, because we have several. But he's currently deployed. I've been doing officer testing all day to show y'all kind of how he works. And I'll go ahead and just let you know ahead of time, because I know a lot of y'all want immediate information. I respect that. Some people just want to know at the get-go how it works. Short answer is he's going to be a good, as he sits right now, second or third crew for you to use, mostly for rep grinding. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, the big deal is because rep is really tough to grind. Now, you could be where I'm at and say, hey, rep is tough, maybe not that bad, but how hard can it be? Well, if you're a player in the 30s, here are the locks if you don't remember. 10 million, which you can see my Federation locked at 10 million, won't go beyond that. 1 billion is the lock after that. Then after that is 15 billion, but then after that is 500 billion. So this times 500. So you're going to actually want to consider having officers that allow you to grind rep, which is exactly where Enterprise-E Picard comes in. He's actually basically built around this idea of rep grinding. If you look at his captain's ability, 100% is with synergy. So increases rewards gained from hostiles and armadas by 100% of base. Now, again, this isn't to say that I'm not trying to devalue him for armadas, because we all love armada loot. If you have been going into 5-star, you've been experiencing the better 5-star armada chest. Yay. But a lot of you, especially higher levels, are going to be looking at it from a rep grinding perspective. Captain's ability increases loot from hostiles and armadas, and then officer ability is going to increase isolated cascade damage for non-armada hostiles once per weapon. So if you have a weapon that fires 4 times, well, it's only going to account for one of those. Now, in terms of full numbers of how Jean-Luc Picard works, here you go. Synergization. So he is at 60%, but synergy, in this example, I have data on the bridge with him, takes him up to 100% with a maximum of 140%. Now, remember, Captain's ability is not affected by tier, so that's where he is maxed out at 140%. So next month, when another officer comes out from the Enterprise-E crew that you can synergize with, then you'll be able to have 140%, and we'll see how those crews work. This video, I'm only going to cover crews that I've been able to study on what's available now and compare it to contemporary crews. So just FYI, when you watch this video, he could have more value than what I'll be showing you. Finally, we used to be explorers, starts at 3% before maxing out at 5%, and this can be valuable depending on how you've unlocked a lot of your artifacts. A big thing with that is we got to get our Isolytic and have our Isolytic cascade, which is just a multiplier on our Isolytic damage. The game has gotten to a point where it is, I hate to use the word kind of convoluted, but truly in some ways it has been. I mean, as the game has progressed and gone on and gotten deeper and deeper, well, we have gotten more and more into all these different maths that I'm not trying to say that players aren't intelligent enough to handle it. That's definitely not what I'm trying to say. What I am saying is that there's so much now that you have to memorize and remember and how it works and what it does. For example, here, let me put the Isolytic back up here. This is just the base Isolytic, how it works. This doesn't even include the cascade. So you have standard damage. Isolytic is a percentage of your standard damage that's in addition to your standard damage that bypasses mitigation, but then faces shields. But there's Isolytic mitigation that can stop Isolytic damage. But then there's Isolytic cascade, which multiplies this, but is still a percentage of that. See what I mean? So it's not that it's bad or that anybody is not capable of handling it. There's just a lot. So it will go up to 15%, which can be useful. But let's talk about using him in crews. I was doing some crew testing earlier to see how it compares. You can actually see I've got him on the bridge right here. Real quickly, the crew I'm about to show you is not an effective crew. I was just experimenting and testing. But here I've got Data, Picard, and Janeway. I had Janeway on there because I was testing the Isolytic. And then you got Data here, who also improves your isolytic damage. So in terms of how they did in terms of crew performance for me, I also had a few high levels do some testings for me. Let me show you. Bam! Right here. So the big key is I use this crew for pure rep grind. I did not include the EMH below for any of these. So this is just how much rep I would get per hole. It's an estimation. It was 4 battles each for this particular run where I was hitting the 51 Immortals. These are deep space hostiles. And I was going to get around 9 million Klingon rep, 21.8, and then 22.5. Now there is some RNG here. I could have done more battles, done 20 or so of each, and that probably would maybe been a little bit more of a well-rounded breakdown. But the truth is, either way you slice it, it was going to end up being around the same. Now, there are things that are going to be variables in this that are not accounted for in this test. What level you are, what ship you're using. The short answer is, for the average player, Enterprise-E Picard, as he stands now, and what he will probably be when he has a 3rd Synergy officer starting in December of 2023, is a secondary to tertiary rep grinding crew that allows you to hit more hostiles with another ship, maybe even using something like the Voyager or your Katinga or your Enterprise-E and your Augur, your D4, whatever. It gives you another grind crew that can go alongside your Strange New World and Voyager crew. Now, I did not include Pike-Moreau-Chen here because I think most people at this point know Pike-Moreau-Chen and their value, correct? Like y'all have gotten to the point where y'all don't need to be retaught about Pike-Moreau-Chen. Pike-Moreau-Chen is very, very valuable. Heck, just honestly, for the sake of making sure everybody remembers, here's why Pike-Moreau-Chen is so great. Only works on hostiles level 51 and below because of how Chen works. But Pike-Moreau-Chen, Pike can be tier 1, Moreau tier 3 will give you max mitigation, and then Chen at max, you are reducing the damage of hostiles that use energy weapons by 96%. So we know that that's really good, but we're focusing on crews for like the average player. Well, I guess that is the crew for the average player, but for the later player, as you level up, you're going to be using different crews. This is going to be a big example of crews that are very common. So I took 5 of 11 because I wanted to try to amass as much rep at one time as possible. The only drawback is I couldn't get as many kills per hull. As you can see, I'm getting over 4 times as many kills using just straight Voyager crew or straight Strange New World crew fighting with the triangle as I was to be using this one. I do want to really state in this video, though, that again, this is without full synergy. So I don't have a 3rd officer that maybe an officer comes out, because let me explain the big difference between these, right? The reason Voyager and Strange New World do so well is they both operate on a principle of the shield damage, a part of the battle log where Janeway is going to make your shield stop all damage in like round 2, and Strange New Worlds is going to stop, you know, an extra 16%. So you don't have that bonus here because in this log, they all basically had max mitigation. Mitigation wasn't the issue. The issue was the Strange New World crew and the Janeway crew stopped more at the shield level, thus less actually got to the hull. So if an officer like that comes out for Enterprise-E Picard, then you can definitely see some big value becoming a part of this. Now, we've already seen people integrating Enterprise-E data into their grinding crews, and I think that Enterprise-E Picard and a full set, when it's rounded out, will also find its way onto the field. At this particular moment, I would say that Enterprise-E Picard is good to have, but he's not a mainstay. Like, he's not a staple as he sits right now. He's a good officer, but Enterprise-E data was the more valuable of the two for this particular month, but that could just be short-term thinking. Long-term, might actually end up wanting the captain. Either way, this is how it works. And again, Isolytic Cascade is working off Isolytic. Have those graphics that you just saw are in the Discord. And then his captain's maneuver is the one that a lot of people are going to be focusing on. To be very clear, I focused on rep grinding in this video, but he is also a valuable asset if you know that you're going to win an armada, sending him out there to get more loot. So that is still a real thing. But the biggest thing with the new rep grinds going up, and as more and more players are leveling up, you're looking for ways to get rep easier. So now you know. If you enjoyed the video, as always, we ask that you hit the like button. It looks like a big thumb. I say that all the time. And hit subscribe, little red button right there. So follow the channel. You can get notified of every time we make Star Trek style content, which is pretty daggum often. And last but not least, if you have any questions, comments, etc., drop them in the comment section down below, right down there. And I'll be more than happy to help you out. Hit me up on Discord or Facebook if you have any questions. And as always, live long and plunder. Stay safe for the Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. Catch you on the next Star Trek Fleet Command video. And we're out.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.